All right. The trade war with China, we're talking about this. Let's talk about this. The trade war with China is heating up. Trump imposed tariffs on China. Their talks broke down, their trade talks broke down, and China retaliated by imposing some tariffs on our goods. And here's the thing, and Trump was talking about this about 5 minutes ago, just as I was coming in. I wasn't able to get a cut because it was too quickly, but he's basically defending this thing. And the markets are going down. Yesterday, the markets really took a tumble, and of course, everybody panics, and all the commentators, the economic commentators, start to speak. But there's a lot of good in this, okay? I'm not going to comment yet on what Trump is doing policy-wise, but just the fact that we are in a trade war with China is a fact. We have always been. For 50 years, we've been in a trade war with China. I mean, it's 50 years about since Nixon opened China up by visiting in 1972, right? It was a big shocking thing. Nixon, the anti-communist, goes to China and meets with Mao, and that was a big deal, and that started to open up and warm our relationships. That was a big twist in the Nixon administration. But after that, China became part of the World Trade Organization. We gave them special trading status, and all these Chinese goods started to come in. And they have dealt with us in unfair ways. They steal our intellectual property. They make deals and don't hold up to the deals. They've been pretty good with the World Trade Organization following a lot of those things, but they've had a lot of, they get a lot of low tariffs and a lot of breaks, and they abuse that privilege. Trump didn't want to get into the Trans-Pacific Partnership because it was pretty obvious that it was going to move more jobs out of the country. So he didn't want to be part of that, even though it might have given us some bargaining power. He felt that he could go and deal with the Chinese one-on-one, and that is what he's doing now. And if you think, some of the people are saying, well, Trump is just going off half-cocked. Trump has been talking about this for decades. It was even a joke during, I would play it during the election, how often he mentioned China. They would put out these cuts where they would put music behind it. Do we have one of those? I think I sent one of those in. Just play a little bit of this, cut number 11.
Let's say China. China, 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 China. I have to have my China. China, 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 China. I know China very well. China, 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 China. I'm from China, 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 China. I have people that I know in China, China, China.
So it's not like he just came up with this. This has been a big thing on his mind for a long time. And now he says this is a good thing for us. Play cut number 9.
China has been taking advantage of the United States for many, many years. I'm not just talking about during the Obama administration. You can go back long before that. And it's been taking out $400, $500, $600 billion a year out of the United States. And we can't let that happen. We're in a very strong position. Our economy has been very powerful. Theirs has not been. We've gone up a lot since our great election in 2016. And if you look at the numbers, they've gone down quite a bit. We're dealing with them. We have a very good relationship. Maybe something will happen. We're going to be meeting, as you know, at the G20 in Japan. And that'll be, I think, probably a very fruitful meeting. But we're taking in right now hundreds of billions of dollars. We're taking in billions of dollars of tariffs. If you look at what we've done thus far with China, we've never taken in 10 cents until I got elected. Now we're taking in billions and billions.
So that is a little bit distorting. And this is the thing that has the markets so upset. And by the way, talking about facts, it's a good thing when the markets get upset. It's obviously nobody wants to lose money. Nobody wants the markets to go down. But the markets are reacting to things that really trouble them. The fact that sometimes the market panics means our leaders have to keep cool and have to follow through with their plans. The part that disturbs me about this, about the Trump thing, is that the money that we make from tariffs is made from our people, right? It's our people paying more for Chinese goods. And so it's just to be clear about that. Now, what Trump is saying is he's going to use some of that money to offset the pain that is caused by people who can no longer sell goods overseas, like farmers, because farmers, we sell a lot of our food to the Chinese. So he's saying, well, we're going to pay you back with this money that we get from tariffs. But the money that comes in from tariffs comes from people buying our people buying stuff that the Chinese make. Now, that's the part of what he's saying that has me a little disturbed, because I want to make sure. I think he's right to get into this fight. I think he's right to try and get China to the table and try and get them to make a good deal. But I do think I want to know that the president understands where that money for tariffs is coming from. Then on the other hand, you have the kind of commentary we're getting, the kind of everything is a disaster, no matter what happens, it's going to be bad for us commentary that you see everywhere. So here is former Congressman David Jolly. He's talking on CNN.
Trade wars inflict a lot of pain, and the reality is what we are seeing now is a unilateral Trump tax on the consumer. To Allie's point, this is a tax the president is imposing upon consumers. And when you move in that direction, when you try to adjust global trade policy, as Mac referred to, what he is hoping for is that there is necessarily wage and economic growth in domestic industries to compensate, to overcome that additional cost to the consumer. But the reality is we're not seeing that. The basket of goods where the consumer sees the increase in prices, they're not seeing increase in wages that match that. They don't have the discretionary income each month going up at a rate that's greater than what it's now going to cost them to provide for their household. That's where the pain is. But this is an opportunity for Democrats to message around that, because if not, Donald Trump's going to message his populist message to the heartland and Main Street saying he's fighting for.
Equally only a half-truth, right? That is equally only half true. The idea with tariffs is they raise the price of goods that come from China. So maybe you buy goods that don't come from China, right? The consumer does have some flexibility. The fear is that other people will raise their prices to match the prices of the Chinese goods going up. So there's all kinds of fears, all kinds of things to worry about. It's all sort of, a fluid situation. But the fact is that Trump, as with North Korea, as with Iran, is dealing with things that have not been dealt with in a long time, and is dealing with the facts, and the facts are going to catch up with him. And one thing that he said, which is absolutely true, absolutely rings true, Trump said that the Chinese were close to a deal and then suddenly reneged on it. And this the Chinese do a lot. Here he's talking about that.
We had a deal with China. It was 95% there. And then my representatives, as you know, Secretary Mnuchin and Bob Lighthizer, Ambassador Lighthizer, they went to China and they were told the things that were fully agreed to, we're not going to get, that's not acceptable. I said, good, that's fine, put on the tariffs.
You know, that is so like the way the Chinese operate, the country of China operates. I know a lot of businessmen who do dealings with China. I've seen a lot of dealings with China in Hollywood. They make these deals, they sign the deals, and then they say, oh, yeah, now let's negotiate. It's a very powerful and dishonest technique. It's powerful, and some people in Hollywood do this too. It's powerful because you're in this negotiation, you're fighting, you're compromising, you're giving stuff, and then you finally get it, and you sign the deal, and everybody's a little disgruntled, but everybody's also a little happy. And then they come to you and say, oh, wait, and it's like, oh, my God, we have to go back, and you just tend to surrender. And I've seen people in Hollywood do this, but the Chinese do it all the time. And Trump is right about this. He's right to take them on. Let's see if he has the guts to stand up to the kind of panic that's coming down the pike. It's going to be really interesting to see. But it's just reality. It is just reality catching up. I mean, even Chuck Schumer has said that he is for tariffs in this situation. Let's see if he backs Trump on this. I bet he doesn't. I bet he suddenly says, well, they're not the right tariffs. They're not the right tariff. We need this tariff and that. The Democrats always do this. They pull the rug out from under you once you're actually in doing the thing that they supported and is unpopular. They suddenly head for the hills. We will see.